Patricio Pitbull and AJ McKee Jr. in the main event of Bellator 263 for the Bellator MMA featherweight belt. We got Patricio Pitbull, the greatest featherweight fighter in Bellator history, and arguably the greatest Bellator fighter regardless of division in Bellator history. I mean, the man is an absolute beast. 32 wins and 4 losses. He's beaten a lot of really good names. Emmanuel Sanchez, Pedro Carvalho, I'm sorry about that, Juan Archuleta, Michael Chandler, Emmanuel Sanchez again, Daniel Weichel, Daniel Strauss, Henry Corrales, Daniel Weichel again, Daniel Strauss again, Pat Caron, Diego Nunes right there, Daniel Strauss yet again, Wilson Hayes, Georgia Karakanyan. I mean, we can just keep on going all the way down the list. His only losses, split decision losses to Joe Warren and Pat Caron, and then a leg-breaking loss to Benson Henderson, and then one loss to Daniel Strauss that he did beat 2 other times right there. So Pedro Pitbull right here is by no means right here. Sorry about that. Is by any means the greatest fighter in Bellator history. I mean, he's beaten so many amazing fighters. 32 wins and 4 losses on an amazing win streak in this featherweight division. I mean, right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins in a row inside of this featherweight division. Absolutely insane. He is fighting AJ McKee Jr., who has 0 losses in this featherweight division. I mean, the man has been looking really good. First round, modified neck crank from guard. Say what? Triangle armbar submission win, first round knockout win in 8 seconds, anaconda choke submission win in the first round knockout win, third round rear naked, first round head kick. I mean, both of these guys right here are absolute beasts in this featherweight division. AJ McKee Jr. says he wants the featherweight belt and he wants that lightweight belt. This is going to be the toughest task in AJ McKee Jr.'s career so far. I mean, the greatest fighter in Bellator history, in my opinion, in Patricio Pitbull. So, for this fight, what does Patricio Pitbull need to do? On the feet, he needs to keep his hands right here. Once AJ McKee Jr. goes for his body kicks, goes for his leg kicks, anything like that, close the distance and throws really fast hands. 1-2 with the right hand right down the middle and finish it off with a nice left hook and try to get that knockout. The main things he really does in his boxing is just that 1-2 with his straight right hand right down the middle, the 1 with the overhand right, and then the 1-2 with the left hook. That's the main things he does do on the feet with his striking, and sometimes he does use that striking to back you up to the cage and close the distance and get the takedown, control you there, wrestle and grab him for the win. That's why this is such an even fight, because AJ McKee Jr. is way taller by 4 inches, has a crazy 8-inch reach advantage over Patricio Pitbull, so he could go out there, keep range, jab, leg kick, body kick, spinning kick to the body, head kick over and over again, and just keep moving around the cage, stay away from that right hand of Patricio Pitbull, and just keep on winning on the feet at range against Patricio. But there is that right hand of Patricio. Again, if he does close the distance, we saw what he did against Pedro Carvalho. One punch from Patricio is going to put your lights out. And if Patricio gets you down, he has amazing submission defense, and it's going to control you on the ground and just ground and pound. I mean, AJ McKee Jr. does have amazing submissions from the bottom, getting that neck crank submission win on Darion, the triangle armbar submission win, the anacondas, the rear nakeds, all these submission wins on the ground. But I still think Patricio, if the fight does hit the mat, I think Patricio will be the one on top, ground and pounding AJ McKee Jr., and he will win the fight on the ground. But on the feet, I do think that the advantage will go to AJ McKee Jr. I think he has the height advantage, he has the reach advantage, and he could just jab, leg kick, body kick, and just keep on moving around the cage, staying away from that right hand, and staying away from the takedown of Patricio Pitbull. So, super close fight, Patricio Pitbull and AJ McKee Jr. There's a couple of outcomes I would like to go over. The first outcome right there for Patricio Pitbull winning would be him closing that distance on AJ McKee Jr., backing him up, and just throwing that jab to straight right hand, the jab to overhand right, the jab to straight, and then the left hook, and knocking out AJ McKee Jr. Those are his 3 main combinations to knock out most of his opponents, so he could land one of those and knock out AJ McKee Jr. That is the first outcome I do see for Patricio. The second outcome would be have AJ McKee Jr. come to him and eventually explode with a double leg takedown, get that takedown, and control the fight on the ground, and make it more of a grinding, wrestling, and grappling, and ground and pounding decision. That's another outcome I do see for for Patricio. There's only one outcome I do see from AJ McKee Jr. because I don't think I really don't think he can control Patricio on the ground. They both have really, really good grappling and wrestling, but Patricio is much smaller, has better wrestling and better control. So on the ground, I don't think AJ McKee Jr. will do very well. He needs to fight to stay on his feet, use that height, use that reach, keep range, jab, leg kick, body kick, everything like that, and win the fight by a decision, staying away from that right hand and staying away from the takedown of Patricio Pitbull. And just staying at range and winning the decision. That's the main way I see AJ winning. So again, the two main ways for Patricio: 1-2 right down the middle, knocking out AJ McKee Jr. The 1-2 to left hook, knocking out AJ McKee Jr. Or getting the takedown and grinding out AJ for the decision. Or we see AJ keep range, use that high, use that reach, jab, leg kick, everything like that, and win the decision. It's such a close fight in the featherweight division. I'm going very back and forth because I can definitely see both outcomes happening. I know a lot of you guys watching this live stream or video right now have Patricio Pitbull winning the fight. He's the greatest Bellator fighter of all time. Of course, he can definitely win right here, but I'm sorry, guys. I love Patricio. I hope he wins the fight. I've been watching him for quite a while. He is the greatest Bellator fighter in history, but gosh, I'm going to go with the underdog. I'm sorry, guys. I just don't hate me in the comments. I'm going to go with AJ McKee Jr. He has a really, really good height advantage, a really good reach advantage as well. I can definitely see him going out there, keeping range, just using his kicks. The kicks are the main way he wins. Use a lot of movement, just stay away from the right hand, and just use those kicks at range, and keep doing it for 5 straight rounds for that decision. I think there will be rounds where Patricio does get the takedown, controls a little bit, and wins a couple of those rounds. I do think it's going to be 3-2 for Patricio or 3-2 for AJ McKee Jr. Really, really close fight. I'm sad to say, I'm hoping, I'm praying that Patricio Pitbull goes out there and starches AJ McKee Jr. because I love Patricio Pitbull. But I love the striking at range of AJ McKee Jr. I think he's going to keep range, use that height, use that reach, and use his kicks to ultimately win the fight by a close of 48-47 decision right here. I'm sorry, guys. I know a lot of you are going to go Patricio, but my prediction right here is going to be the underdog, very, very slight underdog, in AJ McKee Jr. going out there and winning the fight with the kickboxing at range. Should be an amazing, amazing fight. Super close fight. Absolute banger in the main event of Bellator 263 for the featherweight belt. But I am going to go AJ McKee Jr. right there. Amazing, amazing fight, but that is my prediction for AJ McKee Jr. and Patricio Pitbull right there. But yeah, guys, that was tough, man. It's really, really hard to go against a guy like Patricio Pitbull, who I've been watching for so long. I mean, he's on an amazing win streak over Daniel Strauss, Daniel Weichel, Emmanuel Sanchez, Michael Chandler, who just fought for the belt inside the UFC, Juan Archuleta, Pedro Carvalho, Emmanuel Sanchez, all of these guys, an absolute great, but man, I'm gonna go against him for the first time. I've always went towards Patricio. I've never like picked against Patricio Pitbull winning any of his fights. This is the first time, sadly, that I am going to go against Patricio. I'm going to go AJ McKee Jr. winning that fight by 48-47 decision right there. But yeah, that is my full card prediction. 10 fights on the entire fight card. I got, of course, AJ